Hi everybody, Randy Tesdahl, State Adjutant of Minnesota's American Legions. I hope you're having a great day because I know I am. I just want to take this opportunity to give you a little bit of an update of where you're at or where we're at in the state of Minnesota and how things are going within your American Legion. You know, your state commander, Peggy Moon, she's doing a great job, working really hard with her team out there, making things happen. Her membership director, Pat Logan, and all the membership team involved with Pat at the district level, all the way down to the post level, absolutely fantastic job. Right out of the gates, #1 in the nation. That's right, Minnesota's #1 in the nation. You know, you came out that first week and just blew everybody else out of the water. It was absolutely fantastic. So you're over 50% already. You know, you got your membership cards in June, and here we are, it's not even October, and you hit that 50% goal, and I'm confident you're going to hit the following goals throughout the rest of the year, and Minnesota's going to be where they need to be by the end of the year as far as membership. So congratulations to everybody out there in the posts. You're working so hard. We know what it takes. You're out there knocking on doors. You're picking up the phone. You're calling people. You're doing everything you can to get those memberships renewed and make sure that those people understand what their benefits are as far as veterans benefits, but also membership through the American Legion and the benefits that brings for them. I want to talk a little bit also about some of the things that have already occurred and some of the things coming up over the next few weeks. You know, you had your Legionville, Camporee was a few weeks ago. Legionville is a place where Minnesota trains the youth of our young kids that are in the middle schools and teaches them road cross safety. You've seen them out there, the kids that have the red flag with AAA on it. And also a lot of times it says Legionville there. You know, that's a unique program within the American Legion, unique to Minnesota. It's an agreement that was created back in the 20s and 30s between the Minnesota American Legion and the Minnesota State Highway Patrol. And that agreement stands today where the Minnesota State Highway Patrol come into Legionville. We own the facility, we own the buildings, we pay the funds, we make sure the kids are fed, they're housed, we take care of them all week. And the Minnesota State Highway Patrol provides the training to those young folks. It's a great program. We run 8 one-week sessions through that facility, and they do an outstanding job there in the summertime. Well, at the end of the summer, it's called Camporee, and the Brainerd Post hosts Camporee, and we bring Legionnaires from all across the state for several days into Legionville, and they camp out and they have a great time. Districts take turns taking care of the meals, so there might be a chili feed by one district. There's a big fish fry done each year by the 6th district. Some years there are districts that do turkey fries. There's always a pig roast going on. This past couple of years the 10th district has handled that. So hats off to everybody, and I hope you had a great time. I was up there and I had the opportunity to interact with a few folks in a few different districts, and it's always a good time at Legionville. It's a place that's close, I know, to my heart, as well as the commanders, because she's made it her project again this year, as some of the other commanders have had over the last few years, because, you know, you should be proud of yourselves, Legionnaires. You've built an outstanding facility there. It's a top-of-the-line training center there now at Legionville, and everybody fully respects the barn that was there before, you know. History is something that we have to always remember and respect. And we do in the American Legion. That barn that was there before, it meant a lot to the Legionnaires that held the training in that facility for many, many, many years. Over the years, that barn brought a lot of memories. And we hope the new facility does as well. I think it will. I think everybody enjoys it. It's air conditioned, it's heated, it's got a large space for having banquets and different meetings that we can utilize. Plus it has classrooms, a nurse's office. It's got all the facilities that are needed to run a first-class operation like Legionville really truly is. You know, we just recently had the Commanders Task Force meetings. The Commanders Task Force, if you're not aware, in Minnesota is made up of the commanders of the 9 congressionally chartered veteran service organizations that have a footprint here in Minnesota, the American Legion being the largest of all of them. We're fortunate this year, Commander Peggy Moon was elected to lead the CTF, so Commander Moon has one more thing to put on her plate, but as the adjutant, I help handle the administrations of that along with the offices of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs and the Commissioner's staff. We'll make sure that Commander Moon gets everything taken care of she needs to, acting in the role of leadership for the CTF this year. And speaking of that, the legislature is going to gear up this winter, and the CTF is going to make sure that they have a good, solid legislative agenda to bring forward to the legislators of Minnesota so that they understand the needs of Minnesota's veterans and what should come first and foremost. The commanders of each of those organizations meet in the CTF each month and have those discussions about ideas, topics, and issues that their membership bring to them, so that those things get on the docket so that our legislators can hear about them from the voices of Minnesota's veterans. You know, the Disabled Veterans Deer Hunt's coming up, and we have a version of that done at Legionville again. There are no kids there in the fall, so we work along with the Minnesota DNR and the Sons of the American Legion for the state of Minnesota, led by this year Commander Dennis Hinkemeyer. Him and his folks are going to put on a great event, I'm sure of it. They do every year. And we bring in disabled veterans. They're able to spend several days up there and get out and do some of the things that they can't necessarily do because of their disabilities. But with the help of the Sons of the American Legion, they're able to do just that. Get out and enjoy a sport and have a good time in the fall of the year here in Minnesota. Also that same week, on a larger scale, our good friend Scott St. Salver, the Colonel and Commanding Officer of Camp Ripley, allows disabled veterans into his backyard, so to speak, at Camp Ripley each year, and has done so. They have there at Camp Ripley, he and the past commanders of that post have done so for over 20 years. The veteran service organizations such as ours, the American Legion, as well as the DAV and the VFW and other veteran service organizations like the Military Order of the Purple Heart and other groups such as the Elks, Minnesota Deer Hunters Association. We all work together, all of these groups and agencies, again with the DNR and other groups across the state of Minnesota, to make sure Minnesota's disabled veterans have hunting opportunities they may not normally have. So we'll be doing that toward the end of that first week in October, right up at Camp Ripley. It's a great time. We have a big banquet for them. We provide all the meals, we provide all the housing, and that's on a much larger scale. We bring in quite a few more disabled veterans for that event. And be watching in the future. We'll do a turkey hunt in the spring on the same premise right there at Camp Ripley, as well as trolling for the troops. It's a fishing event where we bring professional fishermen in from all across the state and the upper Midwest. Mark Quartz is kind of our lead on that. He's always a contender. He always finishes in the top parts, 5'10". He actually was in the running for #1 this year, right up to the finals of the National Walleye Tour, hosted by Cabela's each year. So our hats off to Mark and all of the pros that work in the NWTF. The NWT, National Walleye Tour. I'm crossing turkeys and deer, and you can't do that always. It doesn't always work out. But anyway, the NWT, the National Walleye Tour, hosted by Cabela's. A lot of the pros from that come and help out at our fishing event for disabled vets at Camp Ripley. So watch for that coming up. We have our fall conference coming up soon. That's going to be in Mahnomen, Minnesota. But before that, we have our National Security and Foreign Relations gathering. Your state commander right now with the other state commanders is up at Camp Ripley. Again, working with Colonel St. Salver and his folks, learning about all the things that are available and being taught and the training that goes on at Camp Ripley. And that all falls under National Security and Foreign Relations. So they're up there this weekend learning all about the things that are being done as far as training at that great facility at Camp Ripley. Back to the fall conference. We'll be in Mahnomen, Minnesota toward the latter half of this month, or next month, coming into October. And we're going to have the leading candidate for National Commander, Dale Barnett. He's going to be there and share some time talking with you folks, telling you about his aims and goals for the American Legion on the national level coming next year. The American Legion Riders is a hot topic, and it is not just in Minnesota but all across the nation. We've asked national leadership to come in and give training on Friday afternoon at Mahnomen for the fall conference, specific to the American Legion Riders. So we've got Bill Sloan coming from the national organization to talk to the riders and all of us about the perspective of the national organization as to how the ALR should be run throughout the nation, and talk a little bit about the originating document that created the ALR out of the National Executive Committee. Also on that topic, the fall conference, we got Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation. Tom Newman and Jeremy Wolfsteller will share some information about Veterans Affairs, County Veteran Service Officers, how to gain access to your veterans' benefits as a veteran. Also, how they work along hand in hand with the Minnesota leadership in the veterans' homes as well as the federal VA. They're going to bring you some up-to-date information as to what's going on with the current situation in our VA facilities here in Minnesota. Along again in that same line, we've got a brand new website, and we're going to provide some training on that website at the fall conference in Mahnomen and bring you up to speed. Yep, that's right. Luke Johnson, brand new part-time employee of the department headquarters. Luke's going to be up there and give some training on the new website. He's our new webmaster, AV guy, IT guy. He kind of handles it all, but he's really focusing right now on the web, and he's really upgraded that, and he's going to walk everybody through some of the new upgrades and some of the inclusive things that he's put in there that are interactive, so that you can look at it, look at videos. We've got some videos uplinked in there. We've got access to training in there. We've got an interactive calendar in there. Just a whole lot of things in that new website. And again, it's at www.mnlegion.org. So feel free to go there and check it out. And if you want that training, please come on up to Mahnomen. And again, speaking of that, our training sessions, whether it's the fall conference, whether it's a membership drive, whether it's the department convention, all Legionnaires are invited to that. You don't have to be nominated by your post to be a delegate of your post. You can come as a guest to any one of those events. So we encourage all Legionnaires to come to those events because they're always educational, and it provides you an update as to where things are really going and how things are going within your American Legion right here in the state of Minnesota. So hopefully that brought everybody up to speed, and take care, folks. As always, like I say, whether you're on the water or in the woods, whether you're on the highways or wherever you're at, be safe while you're out there.